Hey you're watching a clip from the DynamiteGizmo podcast. This is not the full episode, but if you want to see the full episode, make sure to click the link in the description. And remember, like, comment, subscribe. Do it now. Here's the clip. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And for those in attendance and UFC fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the DynamiteGizmo podcast studios in Alberta, Canada. For the first annual unofficial UFC Gizzy Awards Ceremony. Tonight, we end the night, we end this episode, and we officially close the book on the 2025 UFC season. We're doing that by handing out 30 unofficial awards to fighters, fights, events, moments, and everything in between. Every single award you're about to see has been personally selected by yours truly. Throughout all of 2025, I've been watching every card, tracking every moment, and documenting everything through my fight prediction sheets. The highs, the lows, the chaos, the dominance, the surprises, the moments that made us jump out of our seats, and the ones that make us shake our heads. Nothing here is random. These awards are the result of an entire year of paying attention, of rewinding fights, revisiting moments, and asking the question, what truly stood out this year? Some of these awards will celebrate greatness, some will highlight dominance, some will recognize breakout performances, and yes, some of them are going to have a little fun along the way. But every single one of them tells a story of the 2025 UFC season. This is also just the beginning. This is the first Gizzy Awards Ceremony, and from here on out, this becomes an annual tradition. Every year, bigger and better than the last. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow, like, comment, and subscribe, because 2026 starts now, and we're going to track it together all year long, building towards next year's ceremony. But for right now, we're focused on one thing, 2025. It was a great year for the UFC, it was a great year for this channel, and it's a perfect night to hand out some awards. So let's not waste any more time. This is the first annual 2025 UFC Gizzy Awards Ceremony, and it starts now. Yeah! All right, people, this is the moment we've all fucking been waiting for, boys and girls. It's time to hand out 30 unofficial awards to multiple different fighters, events, all kinds of shit, okay? Now, this first award goes to the fighter who didn't just improve this year. They completely changed how we talked about them. The kind of rise where one win turns into momentum, momentum turns into belief, and belief turns into real buzz. By the end of this year, this fighter was no longer a question mark. They were a problem. Okay? I present to you the Breakout Fighter of the Year award, and that goes to Waldo Cortez Acosta. Yeah, baby, there he is. He is the official Breakout Fighter of the Year. He has had 5 fights in 1 year, tied with Kevin Holland for the record, rose from rank number 15 at the beginning of the year to rank number 5. He's had 2 back-to-back round 1 KOs within 3 weeks, and he is our Breakout Fighter of the Year. This next award is for the finish that ended everything in a single moment. The one punch, kick, or strike that instantly changed the fight and made the entire arena react at once. A knockout so clean, so violent, that replay never gets old. This is the knockout of the year, and it goes to Mauricio Rufy for knockout of the year with his spinning heel kick to Bobby Green. Okay, it was a round 1 spinning heel kick KO. He received a performance of the night bonus. It was a very unique KO, the only one that we've seen that year, and it got him straight into the rankings. Okay, now there were some other mentions other honorable mentions and other runners-up for this, we also had Bo Nickel with the head kick KO in round 3 of UFC 322. There was also Quaylin Salkeld with a round 1 head kick KO. Also received a Performance of the Night bonus. Eliza Smith had a round 1 slam from inside triangle KO. Jocelyn Edwards, UFC Delidze versus Hernandez. Uros Medic, also on that same card. Christian Leroy Duncan with a spinning back elbow. Lerone Murphy with a spinning back elbow. Carlos Prates with a spinning back elbow. There were lots of contenders, but Mauricio Ruffy took it this year. Now, this next award goes to the fighter who mastered one area of the game to such an elite level that opponents knew exactly what was coming and still couldn't stop it. This is about dominance through skill, repetition, and precision. When the fight went where they wanted it, it was already over. This next award is Specialist of the Year, and it goes to Walter Walker. 4 back-to-back round 1 heel hook submissions. Okay? Right off the bat, as Walter Walker stepped into the UFC, he came in with a round 1 heel hook, and then again and again and again. 4 round 1 heel hooks back-to-back in a row, and 3 of the 4 were in 2025 alone. And he has only had 4 fights in the UFC. Walter Walker absolutely deserves Specialist of the Year. This next award is for the finish that showcased timing, technique, and composure at the highest level. The kind of submission where once it was locked in, there was no escape. A reminder that fights can end in an instant without a single strike landed. This is Submission of the Year, and it goes to Anthony Hernandez by submitting Roman Dolidze with a standing rear naked choke drag. Okay? That boy got him in a rear naked choke standing up and then dragged him across the octagon. This was another tough choice for submission, but I think Anthony Hernandez absolutely deserves it. This next award belongs to the fight that completely shattered expectations. The moment where rankings, odds, and predictions didn't matter anymore. Nobody saw it coming. And that's exactly what made it unforgettable. We have ourselves the Upset of the Year award, and it goes to UFC 313. Alex Pereira losing his title to Magomed Ankalaev. Alex was on a 5-fight win streak prior to this fight, with 3 consecutive title defenses. After claiming his second division belt after losing the middleweight title to Izzy, he saved UFC 300. He saved UFC 303. He was the fighter of the year in 2024 and was the biggest star in the UFC. Insane amounts of aura. And he stepped in to UFC 313 and lost that title to Magomed Ankalaev. So that event deserved Upset of the Year. This next award goes to the newcomer who didn't just survive their first year in the UFC, they thrived. The kind of debut run that made fans immediately take notice. By the end of the year, it was clear this fighter wasn't just passing through. This is the Rookie of the Year award, and it goes to Quaylin Salkeld. Okay? Absolutely deserved of this award. 3-fight win streak in the UFC with only 3 fights in the UFC. 2 round 1 KOs in 2025. 2 Performance of the Night bonuses. Had one of the best head kick KOs of the year, as we mentioned. And he's close to fighting a ranked opponent. Another runner-up for this award, another honorable mention would be Atiba Gauthier. He had 3 round 1 KOs in 2025, back-to-back Performance of the Night bonuses, 7 round 1 KOs overall with a 9-1 record, and he is also close to getting in the rankings. This next award is for the fighter who faced real adversity and responded the right way. Instead of letting a loss define them, they used it as fuel. The bounce back wasn't just successful, It was statement making. This is the comeback fighter of the year, and that goes to Carlos Prates. This man was undefeated. He was on a 13-fight win streak overall, 4 of 4 win streak in the UFC, and 5 if you include the Dana White Contender Series. All of them received Performance of the Night bonuses. All were either round 1 or round 2 KOs. Huge hype with the fighting nerds. And then he had his loss to a close matchup with Ian Gary. Then he brought it back with an amazing round 1 spinning back elbow to Jeff Neal. Nobody has ever done that to Jeff Neal. Nobody has finished Jeff Neal. Then he finished Leon Edwards in round 2 with a straight left, and again, nobody has ever finished Leon Edwards. So Carlos Prates absolutely deserves the Comeback Fighter of the Year award. Some other honorable mentions and other runners-up for this award were Benoit Saint-Denis, Alex Pereira, Yuri Prohaska, and Ian Gary himself. This next award goes to a moment that left everyone watching completely confused. The kind of moment where you immediately rewind, check social media, and try to figure out what you just witnessed. Pure chaos. No explanation required. This is the What the Hell Was That award. And that goes to Elijah Smith for a power slam from inside triangle. What the hell was that? That had me and everyone else watching go, what? Unbelievable performance, and also could have been a runner-up for KO of the year. But we move on. This next award belongs to the fighter who walked into hostile territory and delivered anyway. Loud boos, stacked odds, and 0 home field advantage, and it didn't matter. Under maximum pressure, this fighter stayed calm and performed. This is the Pressure Cooker Award. Best performance in enemy territory, and it goes to Johnny Walker for defeating Zhang Ming Yang in China. This was an absolute dominant performance. Johnny Walker was someone that people didn't think he could do it. They especially didn't think that he could beat Zhang in his own home country of China, but he went out there and he absolutely did the impossible. The Pressure Cooker Award absolutely is deserved by Johnny Walker himself. This next award goes to the fighter who proved that experience still counts against younger, faster opponents. They relied on composure, IQ, and toughness, a reminder that time in the game still matters. This is the Veteran of the Year award, and it goes to Kyoji Horiguchi. He has had titles in Shudo, Rizin, and Bellator. He was undefeated in the UFC from 2013 to 2016, with only one loss being to Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He left the UFC to go to Rizin from 2017 to 2019, got the belt, went to Bellator to fight for the title on his debut, won the Bellator title, came back to Rizin, lost to Asakura, then won the title back from Asakura. Flip-flopped back and forth between Rizin and Bellator until 2024, then just recently came back to the UFC after 9 years and gets himself back into the top 10 rankings after one performance, and also received Performance of the Night. Absolutely deserved of Veteran of the Year. Next up, this award is for the fighter who accepted a fight on a short notice and still showed up ready. No full camp, no ideal preparation, just grit and confidence. Saying yes was risky, but the performance made it all worth it. This is the best short notice performance, and it goes to Ethan Ewing. 48 hours notice, goes up against Malcolm Wellmaker, who was an undefeated prospect in the UFC, with 3 round 1 right hook knockouts. He gave Malcolm the hardest fight he's ever had, and yet won against him. And another little fun fact that made this just the cherry on top of the cake, he is also a safety officer. And Malcolm was a former pipe fitter / welder, so it's a funny dynamic of a safety guy going up against a tradesman. and the safety officer absolutely dominated him. So, well deserved. Ethan Ewing, you get the Best Short Notice Performance award. This next award goes to the fighter who simply refused to slow down. Round after round, minute after minute, the pace never dropped. When others faded, this fighter kept pushing. This is the Gas Tank Award. Best Cardio of the Year goes to Merab Dvalishvili. Always and of course known for this, but even in his performance against Piotr Yan, he was getting beat up badly and still held in there. 2 liver shots. He did scream, but he stayed standing and continued to run around the octagon, smiling in between rounds. We also have to take into consideration his overwhelming shots against Umar at the beginning of the year. He cannot be stopped. Even though he lost to Yan, he would have stayed in there for another 5 rounds if he could. Merab Dvalishvili, you deserve the Gas Tank Award. This next award is for the moment before the fight even began. The music, the energy, the timing, everything lined up perfectly. Before the first punch was thrown, the tone was already set. This is the Walkout of the Year, and it goes to none other than Alex Pereira. Who else deserves this? Nobody else. Nobody else stood out. He could take this award year after year unless someone else can somehow show a better performance. This next award belongs to the fighter who turned the Apex into their personal arena. No crowd, no distractions, just business. When the lights came on in that building, this fighter delivered. This is the King of the Apex Award, and it goes to Manel Kape. 7 of his 10 fights were at the Apex, and has one of the biggest rises while attending the Apex almost exclusively. This guy is next in line for the title, and he's done it all by mostly thriving in the Apex, the UFC Apex. So Manel Kape, you deserve King of the Apex Award. This next award goes to the fighter that nobody expected to be a battle. No hype, no spotlight, and then suddenly it turned into a back and forth war. The kind of fight that sneaks up on you and steals the night. This is the Unexpected War Award, and it goes to Baranowski versus Aslan. Finished quickly in round 1. Back and forth war, no idea which direction it would finish, exciting up and down, get off your seat moment. It was crazy, and it ended quickly. And it happened at the end of the year. So Baranowski versus Aslan, you guys deserve the Unexpected War Award. This next award is for the fighter who stayed busy all year long. Short turnarounds, frequent appearances, and constant competition. Win or lose, this fighter showed up and carried the load. This is the Most Active Fighter Award, and again, it goes to Waldo Cortez Acosta. He has had 5 fights in 1 year, which ties for Kevin Holland, who also had 5 fights this year. And the choice between the 2 of these guys was simply based on the fact that Waldo was more impactful than Kevin Holland, but Kevin Holland was absolutely the second runner-up and someone who could also deserve this award. But it's going to Waldo Cortez Acosta this year. This next award goes to the moment where the microphone mattered just as much as the performance. And we're not talking in an emotional way. I mean in a funny way. The Best Post-Fight Interview Award of the year goes to Derek Lewis, saying that his next opponent would be his wife with some ground and pound, mooning the audience with his bare ass, going to perform... also calling Teixeira's fence grab a hoe-ass move. This guy never fails to deliver on the mic in the post-fight octagon interview. So the best post-fight interview of the year award goes to you, Derek Lewis. Absolutely deserving. This next award belongs to the matchup that felt personal, from start to finish. Trash talk, tension, history, and emotion all wrapped up into one. This rivalry pulled fans in and refused to be ignored. This is the Rivalry of the Year award, and it goes to Bryce Mitchell and John Silva, UFC 314. People had a sour taste in their mouth after Bryce Mitchell's podcast came out and the things that he did say. Silva was rising up with the nerds. They were still undefeated as a collective. Huge hype-up moments at the pre-fight press conferences between the two. Bryce landed some hard lines. The stare-downs were intense, and it felt like a genuine hatred between the two. So you boys absolutely deserve Rivalry of the Year award. This next award goes to the moment where expectations were sky high and the reality didn't deliver. The build-up promised fireworks, but the outcome fell flat. Not every big moment lands, and this one definitely missed the mark. The biggest letdown of the year award goes to Patchy Mix. He was the former King of the Cage champ, former Bellator champ, with only a 9-1 record. Huge expecting prospect coming into the UFC. But unfortunately, he lost his debut into the UFC, and it didn't look like a good fight. And he got his second shot and lost again, also not looking like he had the greatest performance. So for you, Patchy Mix, you get the biggest letdown of the year award. This next award is about consistency, just not the good kind. When weigh-in day came around, the outcome felt familiar. At some point, it stops being surprising. The most likely to miss weight again award goes to the one and only Brian the Butcher Battle. He missed weight twice at welterweight, then moved up to middleweight and missed again on UFC 319, which unfortunately got him cut. But he has been since making an uprise in other divisions, such as the PFL being signed to them and having 2 wins in dirty boxing. So maybe we'll see him back one day. But for right now, Brian Battle, you get the most likely to miss weight again award. This next award goes to the voice that elevated the broadcast all year long. Insightful, passionate, and perfectly timed. Their commentary added depth to every fight. When moments happened, they knew exactly what to say. This is the Commentator of the Year award, and it goes to Laura Sanko. She has risen from someone who was not well known to someone who is very well known. The face of the Dana White Contender Series interviews also has become a staple in the morning weigh-in show, has attended many fight night cards and even some main numbered events now. She is very knowledgeable about fighters' skills and stats, former martial artist herself, bringing knowledge and advice to the commentary. Very observant when analyzing fighters and explains well with what is happening during the fight. And she's also quite funny and quick-witted, and pretty good-looking if you ask me. So Laura Sanko, you absolutely deserve Commentator of the Year, and I hope you appreciate that. This next award belongs to the fighter who keeps defying time and logic. Year after year, they show up, take damage, and somehow keep going. At this point, it was just impressive. How is he still fighting award goes to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He is the oldest fighter in the UFC at 42 years of age. He doesn't have any plans of retiring as is for a long time. And as I mentioned earlier in the episode, Jim Miller is second in line for being the oldest by just a few months. But because Steven is ahead of him, he gets the How Is He Still Fighting award. Congratulations, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. This next award is for the fighter who barely had time to rest before jumping back in. No long recovery, no waiting around, just straight back to work. The turnaround was fast and the performance held up. This is the quickest turnaround award, and that goes to Baisangur Susarkayev. fought and won on the Dana White Contender Series on August 12th, then debuted within a 4-day notice on August 16th on UFC 319, one of Khamzat Chimaev's protégés. That is the shortest time in between fights ever in the history of UFC. Not only just in 2025, but ever. So absolutely, Bai Sangur, you deserve the quickest turnaround award. This next award goes to the prelims that completely outperformed expectations. Before the main card even started, the tone was already set. Proof that sometimes the best action happens earlier in the night. This is the Best Preliminary Showcase Award, and it goes to UFC Fight Night Dolidze versus Hernandez. Right off the bat, the third fight of the night, straight left hook KO in round 1. Medic versus Urbina. Then the fourth fight of the night, right hook and ground and pound punch KO with Jocelyn Edwards and Priscilla Cachiarella. Fifth fight of the night, we had a slam from inside triangle in round 1, Elijah Smith versus Kasama, one of the greatest KOs in UFC history. Seventh fight of the night, spinning back elbow and punches, round 1 KO, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Eric Anders. What an amazing performance by all you fuckers. This card definitely deserves Best Preliminary Showcase Award. This next award belongs to the fighter who caught fire at exactly the right time. Multiple wins, growing confidence, and undeniable momentum. They ended the year hotter than anyone else. This is the Year-End Heater Award, and it goes to Melquizael Costa. Only had one fight and was on a one-fight win streak in 2024. Now has won 4 fights this year alone, earned himself a Performance of the Night bonus, and ended the year off on the final card with a round 1 head kick KO, putting him on a 5-fight win streak. This next award goes to the fighter who defined the entire year. Dominance, consistency, impact, and relevance all rolled into one. When people look back at 2025, this is the name they'll remember. This is the Fighter of the Year Award, and it goes to Merab Dvalishvili. 4 title defenses in a year, which is a new record. He beat GSP's record of most attempted takedowns, new record, 14-fight win streak, and last 7 wins in a row have all been top 10 or former champs. And even though Merab did not successfully defend his title a few weekends ago, I think the effort that he has put in absolutely is deserving of Fighter of the Year. Sorry, I got the burps. This next award is for the event that delivered from start to finish. Great fights, big moments, and no wasted time. From the opening bout till the final bell, it kept fans locked in. This is UFC Card of the Year, and it goes to UFC 322. 4 back-to-back crazy KOs. Comeback fight from Bo Nickel with an unexpected head kick KO. Followed up with a 16-second KO from Benoit Saint-Denis. A straight left KO from Prates to Edwards, who has never been finished like that in his career. Then Morales finishing Brady in round 1. 2 double championship main and co-main events. Islam becoming welterweight champion after vacating the lightweight title. Valentina Shevchenko proves that she still has one of, if not the greatest, female mixed martial artists to ever live with 10 title victories. The debut of Ethan Ewing putting a stop to Malcolm Wellmaker. Also had the up-and-coming Susarkayev in the early prelims and getting the job done in round 3, keeping his hype alive. Kyle the Darce Knight Dawkins debuting against Gerald Meerschaert and submitting him 50 seconds into round 1 with his signature move, the Darce choke. There's so much more that I haven't even mentioned, but this card blew my mind. and it is 100% absolutely deserving of Card of the Year. This next award belongs to the fight that captured everything we love about MMA. Skill, heart, drama, and chaos all in one. Win, lose, or draw, both fighters left something behind in that cage. This is the Best Fight of the Year award, and it goes to Matinetti versus Vologdin, the Dana White Contender Series fight that they had this year. An absolute back-and-forth war. Every round became more and more intense. They just kept throwing hands. One would fall, the other would rise. Then the other one would fall, and the other would rise. It did that over and over. It was crazy. A constant roller coaster of emotions. You think it's going one way, then it goes the other. And it kept doing that over and over again. Just a bloody, violent mess. And both men received contracts and bonuses, which Dana White has never, ever given a bonus on a Dana White Contender Series fight. So Matinetti and Vologdin, you guys absolutely deserve Best Fight of the Year, and maybe be considered one of the best fights ever to come out of UFC. This next award goes to the moment that completely broke everybody's brain. The kind of moment you still talk about because it makes no sense. The what the fuck moment of the year goes to Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Bellato. They had incidents back to back. Their first fight was canceled 45 minutes before they were to walk out because Bellato turned out to have herpes. It was discovered by the doctor in the locker room. Then, when they rematched, the fight was supposed to be stopped the fight was stopped due to an illegal upkick by Paul Craig. But Bellato pretended to be knocked out as he was mid-protesting as he was falling backwards during the KO, then pretended to wake up as if he was dazed and confused. The whole thing between the two was massively weird, and it ended in such a strange way. A runner-up to this What the Fuck Moment of the Year award goes to Ante Delija, who poked Waldo pretty badly in the eye the week after Tom Aspinall got poked. And we're not going to go into the whole discussion of how that's weird, but if you know, you know. So Paul Craig and Rodolfo Bellato, you guys get the What the Fuck Moment of the Year. Now this final award is a little different. Unlike the other awards tonight, this one isn't about rankings, stats, or even just what happened inside the cage. This is about a moment that meant something to me personally. The Dynamite Moment of the Year award is my absolute number one moment of 2025. The moment that stuck with me specifically the most. The one I still think about when I look back on this year. As a Canadian, seeing fighters represent our country on the biggest stage in the world will always hit different. And on that night in Montreal, with Canadian fighters competing in front of a home crowd, there was a feeling in the air that you don't get very often. There was emotion, there was pride, and there was something to prove. One fighter handled everything the right way. Respect, composed, and focused. The other one made it personal, talked his trash, and disrespected not just his opponent, but the country he was stepping into. And when the cage door closed, one moment answered everything. This wasn't just a win. It wasn't just a knockout. It was a statement. And this is my Dynamite Moment of the Year, and it goes to Mike Mallet defeating Charles Radke in Montreal, Canada on UFC 314. Being Canadian myself, I loved seeing Canadians win in their home country. Almost every Canadian on that card won that night, but this one felt special. Radke was talking shit the whole lead up to the fight, being very disrespectful to Canada and Canadians, and specifically to Mike. Mike was very respectful the whole time and even tried to shake Radke's hand at the face-offs, but Radke disrespectfully refused. Mike went out there and knocked his ass out in round 2 with a left hook to ground punches, then got on the mic for the post-fight speech and gave a super inspiring speech about how proud he is of his country and showed what a true warrior he is and that he is here to represent Canadians in the UFC.
Tap here to watch the full episode of the Dynamite Gizmo podcast.